welcome. If you've clicked on this video, it's probably because you've realized your muscles don't feel as sore as you feel they should after hitting the gym. And to be truthfully honest with you, they won't always feel so sore. Even if you've done the most intense exercise, you've done the most intense lift, the most reps. It's not about how many reps you do. It's not always about how intense you're lifting. There are a couple reasons you must take into consideration as to why your muscles don't feel as sore as you'd expect them to be after going to the gym. So let's dive into it. So back when I first started to take my fitness more serious, I would used to get so annoyed at the fact that after I would hit the gym and I'd come home and you won't always expect it from that same day, but sometimes the day after or the day even after that, my muscles just wouldn't feel sore. And I would used to question myself and think, well, I'm pretty sure I was working out intensely. I'm pretty sure I was hitting the correct, peak points and I was doing everything as I should. So why do my muscles not feel sore? Now, for those of you who know, I like to record all my videos off the dome. Okay, I don't have a script. A lot of them are not pre-planned. Okay, I like to just go off the dome using the knowledge I know and that I've picked up from here and there, reading books and just actually having gone through the experiences myself. But I will provide you a couple of reasons as to why your muscles don't feel sore, after hitting the gym. Okay, now the first reason why, and this is probably the most important one for you to understand. Okay, I'm going to get a little bit into the science of it a little bit, right? So to understand why your muscles might not feel as sore as you expect them to after hitting the gym, you must understand muscles themselves, muscles as a part of your body. Okay, so I'm actually going to get quite practical here and use myself as an example as I teach you this. Okay, so you must understand there are so many different muscles in the human body. Okay, and they all work in different ways and have their different produce different movement capabilities and stuff like that, right? Now there are certain muscle groups that will feel more sore than others based on how often you use them. You understand? Now this is just complete logic. This is science. This is everything is backed up. Okay, for example, if I'm somebody that does a lot of calisthenics, naturally my lats are going to be in a lot more pain than, for example, my quadriceps. Okay, my leg muscles. Okay, I'm just gonna have to pause the recording because notification came up. Put my phone on. I don't know why is it doing that, bro. If I put it on silent, I hope that I hope that doesn't mute my incoming audio. Anyway, right? So that's just a good example for you to understand. Like, oh yeah, of course. Well, yeah. To be honest, if I'm somebody that I do a lot of bicep curls, then I'm not gonna expect my back muscles to feel sore because I didn't really use them as much, right? Cool. Now, like I said, I'm gonna get a little bit practical here and provide you with some examples. The muscle groups I'm going to talk about are the chest, the tricep, and the back muscles. Okay. Now, starting off with the chest muscles, right? One thing you should understand, right, about muscles, and this will apply for all of them, is that your muscles are either in a contracted state or a more relaxed state. Okay, whenever you're working out a muscle, it's basically the repetition of bringing it from a contracted state to a relaxed state, contracted state to a relaxed state. Okay, that's what a rep is. Okay, this is the same with the bicep, this is the same with the tricep, this is the same with all the other muscles. Okay, very simple, right? Cool. The reason why, for example, with the chest muscles, you may feel as though they don't feel as sore as they should is because naturally as humans, we spend more time with our muscles in the relaxed range, all right, and the relaxed of the two states that they can be in. So more often than not, you will be sat like this, whether it's at work, at home, Or even if you're just standing up, you're just like this, aren't you? Your chest is in the relaxed state. It's very rare that we find ourselves doing this sort of motion, okay? This would cause us to really feel our chest if we had done a workout, okay? This sort of motion, right? When you're bringing your chest together, if you were doing this like after a chest day, that's when you would feel sore, because you remove your body from the relaxed portion, the relaxed state that it was in, into the more contracted state. The same is to be said for example, your tricep, right? And there's I'm gonna go into why I'm using these specific muscle groups instead of others, okay? Cool. Now for the triceps. See, the tricep is a kind of muscle, right? I'm not showing off. I am, but I'm not, right? I'm trying to show you something. See, the tricep muscle, okay, is a special one, right? Because unlike all the other parts of our bodies, it actually gets contracted, I'd say less than 15% of the time throughout our whole day, okay? We rarely fully extend our arms all the way back and then actually pull, pull when you get that extra sort of 5% of the contraction when you're like doing a rope pull down, right? We rarely do that outside of the gym. So naturally, we're rarely going to feel that sore in our day-to-day lives. Okay, you understand what I'm saying now? Maybe if you're, for example, reaching back and you want to reach over and grab something, maybe that's when you might feel a little bit sore in your tricep. But not if you're just walking around, because I'm going to stand up and show you. When you stand, can you see that small angle? You can see that small crease in my arm. You're never fully straight when you're walking. You understand what I'm saying? It looks a bit awkward, that. But your hands are never fully straight. You see how my tricep is actually flexed once I make my hand sort of like fully straight. You're never gonna be like that, because that's not how the body works. Your hands are gonna be at a slight tilt, slightly bent. This causes your tricep to relax. You understand where I'm coming from now? That was example number 2. Example number 1, I stated that the chest spends most of its time stated within the relaxed portion rather than the contracted. The same goes for the tricep. We rarely ever actually make that 100% extension of the elbow, okay, which would cause our triceps to be contracted. It's a lot of words, isn't it? I'm trying not to trip over myself. Cool. I think I also mentioned the back, didn't I? So the third example, I guess we'll talk about the back muscles. So the back muscles, oftentimes we contract our back muscles by just sort of hyper relaxing the chest, right? And pulling back. This is how we contract our back muscles, and then we stretch them out again and then pull. You understand where I'm coming from now? Tell me when in your day you're doing this, any of this movement. Tell me when. You can probably think of a couple, but and I'm not talking about like this or like, no, because that's not full extension, is it? No, I'm talking right back where your palms are almost in line with your shoulders. You're very rarely doing that, aren't you? So you shouldn't expect for your back muscles to be so sore throughout your day-to-day life, unless you're actually using it like you're, I don't know, picking up boxes or whatever, right? You have to take this into consideration. It doesn't mean that you're not working out properly. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It just means there's certain times during the day where you might use the certain muscles that you're so occupied about. And there's certain times in the day where you just won't use them. Okay, cool. You might be asking yourself, okay, Michael, well, we now sort of understand why muscle groups like the chest, the triceps, the back might not feel sore during the day. Why does my bicep feel sore? Like, even though it's doing the same weight or rep amount and it feels sore, what's actually the difference? Well, you must understand, like I've explained, our biceps, this is what it takes to contract them. That's it. Very simple, right? you'll find during the day, you'll do a lot of this portion, a lot of this motion. You'll do a lot of this motion, okay? And even if you're not, naturally, your hands will stay at a sort of bent state more often during the day, okay? So more often during the day will your hands be slightly bent. If they were completely straight, like this, okay? Think about a time where your hands will look like this during the day. Never. This is just kind of, that would be kind of awkward, wouldn't it? Right? If your hands are like this, it means that your biceps are completely relaxed. No pain, no soreness. Your arms are always somewhat bent. Like when you're walking, you know, when you're lifting things, when you're washing your hands, you're brushing your teeth, you're using your phone. A lot of you use your phone very often. Obviously, your bicep is going to feel sore because your hand is bent as you're using your phone. You understand? It's a no-brainer. But yeah, that's a lot of the more thoughtfulness. You know, you might not have thought about these things, right? That's a lot of the more things you wouldn't have thought of as a reason as to why your muscles don't feel as sore as you'd like them to be. Okay, I just want to touch on a couple other things. I want you to ask yourself, are you getting the most out of each and every single workout? Meaning, are you pushing to extreme failure? Okay, now pushing to absolute failure is not always necessary, depending on what kind of training you're doing. Okay, but if you're looking for that burning sensation, that soreness after the workout, are you making sure that you're doing your due diligence and you're doing what you need to do in order to get everything out of the tank? Because if you're not, it means you're not pushing your body to that limit, meaning your body is not going to feel taxed after actually going to the gym and putting the work in. You must empty the tank. Emptying the tank is the number one way in order to, you know, give your body consequence. You know, you'll be able to wake up the next day and your body will be telling you, wake up the next body. Crazy. You know, your body will be telling you, seriously, bro, like, why do we feel like this, man? You know, you'll be able to, it's because you went to the gym. You understand? Make sure you're getting every last rep out. It's very important. Another reason, and this is a pretty good reason as to why you might not feel so sore after hitting the gym, is due to your genetics. Yes, genetics. Now, we all know that genetics sometimes play a role in how developed your muscles are or how quickly you can gain muscle within certain muscle groups. But genetics also play a role in determining how painful your muscles feel after they've been exercised, after they've been worked. You understand? And this just makes sense naturally. You must understand, people who have, you know, incredible leg genetics, okay, naturally means that they're going to have stronger legs. This could mean fast twitch, slow twitch, it doesn't matter, right? They are going to have a lower sort of pain amount or higher pain tolerance because of their genetics, because of how strong their legs are. Those are a couple of reasons as to why your muscles might not feel sore in the gym. It's been a pleasure, you know, thanks for joining me. I enjoyed making this video a bit, even though, like I said, there was no real structure. I was really just talking. I had the idea in my head, you know, and I was just going with the flow. That's how I like to do it, to be honest. And thanks for watching. Speak once, listen twice. We'll speak soon, gentlemen.